Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast with Bree here from Veeva. Um, she is going to tell us a little bit about her background, and we'll have some questions. If anyone in the audience has questions, please post, and we'll try and get those in as well. How's your day going, Bree?
Good, and I love that the dog is like really excited about the
Sorry about that.
no.
My wife started vacuuming. I'm at home, and the dog hates the vacuum.
That's perfect. My dog might make an appearance too, so I got nothing but love for the dog. Yes. Happy to be here with everybody. And my background is working within, nursing kind of to start, and then working within research sites across a couple of, well, actually three academic medical centers in the US. And then for the last 5 years, I've been on the technology side with Veeva, and I'm responsible for our strategy for all the stuff we have going on for research sites. So I'll always identify, I think Brad knows that about me, I always identify as a site. So happy to be here today and take questions and kind of see where the conversation takes us.
Yeah, I mean, I always have a small special place in my heart for people who've come from a site background. It's not always the case. I think, obviously a lot of the reason we do this is because sites do have their sort of, specific pain points. So as a very smooth segue I just made, tell us a little bit about how Veeva is, helping make life a little bit easier for sites.
Sure. So, I mean, we are really thinking about the industry more broadly, I would say, than a lot of other technology companies. We're in a position to be able to do that. About 80% of active clinical trials touch our platform somewhere across the globe today. And of course, when you think about like just talking about site background being so important, the stakeholders in clinical trials that are really struggling right now are sites, because of the amount of complexity that they are having to manage to. They are not able to make a lot of decisions when it comes to technology. Certainly they can make some, but with technology now running the majority of the trial processes and there being so much variability across what that looks like, we've just kind of created, in my opinion, and in the opinion of Veeva overall, really this highly complicated environment that we can definitely get into this, but that I would say is creating almost like a supply and demand problem where sites can absolutely not keep up with the demand anymore. And I spend a lot of my time thinking about that at Veeva.
So when you say demand, are you speaking technological demand in terms of working with different vendors, or just in general? What do you mean?
I'm talking about in general, and then technology is a huge component of that. So I don't know how often you guys look at like the KINGEFS, like the Tufts data that comes out of the Center for the Study of Drug Development. And if you look at the volume of clinical trials, we see, I mean, year over year, huge increases in that. And what you see from PIs entering into trials today and sites being able to open trials and even just startup timelines, all of that data, things are getting worse and not better. And I definitely believe that the amount of complexity sites are having to manage to just from a technology standpoint is part of that. And we've got, I mean, there's survey data like from SCRS, for example, talking about that, and Vara, I mean, some of our competitors even, and it's a huge component of it.
So what specific products does Veeva offer to help these sites?
Yeah. So today we have an investigator site file or any regulatory system. So kind of that core, product that you're going to use if you're inspected, and it's going to serve as your repository of all of the documents that you collected on the trial for inspection. We do that today.
Does that include both regulatory and source?
It's just regulatory. It's not eSource. We have, I would say about 50% of the documents that we have in the system right now are electronic source. So someone has scanned in source, or it's come from something like a medical record. We still see a lot of sites that are on paper, and that can be housed within the system, but I wouldn't say it's eSource. Okay. It's not totally digital. Yeah. But then the other side, Chris, that where I think we are unique is thinking about how sites are engaging in technology that sponsors have selected. EDCs, study training, randomization, getting documents from things like portals from sponsors. There's so much site activity and technology, as you know, that you don't select. And that's where we also believe we have a huge opportunity to make an impact.
Okay, so ISF, what other products does Veeva offer?
So from just like on the sponsor side of the house, there's products that sites would touch. We have study training, feasibility. We also have randomization. We have e-consent within our EISF as well. We have eCOA or ePro, so lots of survey technology. We have an EDC as well. We have our Site Connect technology, which is really where we are now having our sites come for the hub of where they engage with sponsors and CROs. And we're trying to think about how to basically improve that information exchange and document exchange process that is constantly going on between sites and sponsors. And if you think about it, the site business is so unique because you are like the linchpin, you are the flow through of information that you are receiving, collecting from patients, sending back up. And so really, to solve the major challenges that sites are facing today, I think you have to zoom out beyond just what sites can select as their own core business applications. And you have to think about the work that they do is really about exchanging information constantly in non-standard ways with sponsors and CROs. And we're thinking a lot about that.
Okay. And we live in a capitalist society, and I prefer it that way. So I've heard complaints that some people are unhappy that Veeva has started charging for their services to sites. I assume, I don't know, so here's the question. I assume the cost is reasonable though.
Yeah, it is. So, I'm glad you're bringing that up. So we have offered a free product for 5 years. And I would say now looking at that, 98% of our customers, so we have about 8,000 sites on it, they will continue to operate in that free product. What we've seen,
so they're grandfathered in.
Yeah, well, we don't plan to charge sites that have small study numbers on the product. Period. Okay.
I'm sorry, just for clarification. So there's a viewer watching right now. It's a research naive doctor who's thinking about starting research. He can use your product for free still.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
But what we've seen is when we get a lot of scale on the product, when we have many more studies in the product, we have really been focusing the last 5 years on how do we make this product so easy to use that it doesn't create a need for a bunch of Veeva humans, to help somebody really shepherd getting all that they can out of the product. But what we're seeing is because our industry is so complex and because the product now is expanding and offering so much, once sites get to a certain size, in order to really get the full value out of the product, they need more support from us. They need us to set goals with them. They need us to really come alongside of them and kind of be more like strategic partners versus here's your free product, go have fun and run with it. And that small percentage of our customers, that's where we're really focusing and saying, all right, we want to scale our team to help you more. And that's where the change came from. Mm. We've always had a product, just for clarity too, that was paid. That was available for the free product. And we have big academic medical centers with thousands of studies on it. And so we really never intended for big groups to be on that free product. And so that's where we're making the change. And we do believe it's the right thing to do. So again, 98% of those 8,000 customers, they're not going to be charged for the product.
Makes total sense to me. Again, I am a capitalist. I believe you should make money. But, it's great that you're starting off these new sites that really have limited knowledge in the research space. Mm-hmm. You're offering them a free product. And as they grow, that may change, right? It sounds like. But yeah, no one should have free forever, at least not in my opinion. It's great, though, as they're learning, right? Or starting out.
And I think it's great as far as thinking about, we want to get research in more and more areas as we can, right? Like you shouldn't have to live by this big honking academic medical center to be able to get access to a clinical trial. And so I agree, like we have the same goal as far as how do we help outfit these small groups to get started. These physicians that want to get involved, how do we help them get started? And a free product is just a really great way to do that.
Absolutely. You were going to say something, Brett?
No, I mean, I was going to say to your point, I think to your earlier point about, the sort of, there's not just technology overload, but there's like workflow and process overload as a site, especially as a new site where you don't really know what you're doing yet or what's going to work well. So having to shell out a bunch of money for these elaborate systems, I found oftentimes you're like, you get a little bit of buyer's remorse because you're like, well, crap, this doesn't actually fit with the way I want to operate my site or run my business. So to be able to sort of, play with some house money, get going,
I like that term, playing with house money.
Yeah, right. It's still a huge advantage. And again, I think to your point, you probably didn't intend for sites to be running 150 studies out of, free Site Vault product necessarily. So it makes sense. I want to ask about Veeva Summit. I know you guys are getting, trying to sort of lean in and focus more on sites. I was there last year. It was nice. And thought it was cool. You guys sort of connecting sites to CROs and sponsors and giving sites an opportunity to sort of showcase themselves and even just have, casual, candid conversations with representatives at sponsors and CROs. So I know that's something you guys have announced trying to lean a little bit more into. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. Yes, the sites are so key to what we are wanting to do and working towards as a company, because we're not going to optimize clinical trials if we don't optimize sites. There's no way. Like, our impact on the industry is only going to go so far, and it's going to be stunted if we don't also help groups work better together, and we, really help sites get more efficiency. And again, I think a specific area where we have an opportunity to do that is to bring them more consistency in the technology that they're using with sponsors and CROs. There's a huge opportunity there. And we believe that connection is more than just connecting your systems. It's actually connecting you as people. And we have had sites at our summit for the past several years. We did a little more push for it last year. Brad, it was great to have you. And we really wanted to learn because, we want to do it right, to bring a whole bunch of sites into a conference where we have the majority of sponsors and CROs attending already and true decision makers. We wanted to feel good that we were going to accomplish something important and that we were going to be able to be organized in doing it. So the last few years, especially last year, we learned, and then this year we're opening it up to all sites. So if you are a site professional, doesn't matter what your role is, you're going to have an invitation. You have an open invitation now. If you go to sites.veeva.com, you'll see on our homepage where you can sign up for Summit. And we're specifically looking for people that work at sites. So, and you can sign up, and we're going to be doing several things this year. So we are going to have sites on panels. We're going to have sites sharing top things with sponsors and CROs that they need, that they're lacking. We want sponsors and CROs to really be able to hear your stories, make connections with you. We're going to be doing workshops again around coming together at the table, sitting at the table with decision makers at sponsors and CROs, which is honestly hard to find opportunities to do that. And really talking through and brainstorming in workshops, issues, places where you need to be heard, where you need to hear their side. And we're excited to do that this year in a big way. We're also going to be offering a site celebration dinner and just some really neat things where the goal is that there's much more hope and connection after Summit. And then we learn, and our product teams learn about, well, where can we as Veeva come in and help? Because we're not going to be able to solve everything. It's not our job to solve everything, but being able to listen in forums like that is incredibly informative for us. And no doubt last year, it certainly had an impact on our products. after seeing everybody come together. So I'm really looking forward to it. There's no registration to come, so you do have to figure out how to get there, and you have to figure out where you're going to stay. But we provide food and access to the conference at no cost.
That's awesome. So this question is going to be directed at Brad. I haven't attended Veeva Summit, so I want to put you on the spot here, Brad. Which one's better, SOS or Veeva Summit?
Do you want to take me off for a minute while you answer that, Brad?
Yeah, it seems unfair question.
Intended so.
Yeah. They both have a lot of value, right? Let's just say it that way. No, I had a good time.
And I like the additional animation there.
And to Bree's point, I think the nice thing is that you do. I mean, I just had people walk up and like have a very casual, not necessarily casual, but just an open conversation with sponsors and CROs, and I thought it was kind of nice. It's like a table where you chill, they come up, talk. It's very easy, and I feel like it's not always easy to do that as a site. Like even when you go to these conferences, you don't know who to talk to or who to approach, who's even there. So it was kind of like reversed it in a way to where the sites were hanging out and sponsors had a chance to walk through and talk to sites. So it was like a Sadie Hawkins dance, right? Like it's like reverse. Like the sponsor comes and talks to you versus you reaching out and trying to flag down a sponsor, which I kind of appreciated. And I feel like it was very informal in a good way, if that makes sense.
Well, again, I haven't attended, but it does sound like it's probably more practical and beneficial, Veeva Summit, if your goal as a site owner is to have a conversation with a sponsor, right? Most conferences are not conducive to this goal, in my opinion. The ones I've been to. Would you agree, Brad? Since I've been to a fair amount over the last couple of years, and it's not as easy as you would think, unless you really want to spam people and set up coffee meetings like on the side. I feel like it's tough to have that sort of FaceTime with sponsor. So Veeva sounds like it would be a great conference to attend. I know SOS is the same way in terms of being this little on the smaller side. There's more opportunity for sites to speak directly with sponsors. But, the DIAs of the world, it's just too large, too crazy in scope, and at least in my opinion.
They can be hard and overwhelming.
Yeah. So, Bree, is there any new products on the horizon?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you the same thing I ask you every time I talk to you, Bree, is that are you guys going to do a site CTMS ever?
We have not announced that, but we are going to be doing more and more for sites. Like certainly we don't think we're going to come in and optimize, a site's business on regulatory documents alone. So more to come as we announce more.
It's under wraps.
That sounds very, very secretive and confidential. So we'll get it out of you eventually.
Yeah, we will over time do more for sure. So stay tuned. Yeah, come to Summit and you'll see more. I mean, that's something that's really exciting and not only do you see things that we're launching, like we had a summit a couple of years ago where we announced 7 new products, which was crazy.
Wow.
So coming to Summit, not only would you see some of the things that we are launching for sites as far as what you could, run your own business on, but also you'll see all of the roadmaps for sponsor and CRO tech. So like, what is the latest and greatest EDC thing that's going to hit you? How are we trying to do X, Y, and Z differently? And then you'd also see a lot of our customers up there. This is something that I feel like is a huge gap, is actually having customers of the technology talk about their experience instead of just the technology company people doing all this vision casting. And you're like, all that sounds great. What's the experience of your actual product from your customers? And so we really, really pride ourselves on these. Other than like us getting up and talking about roadmaps, we want customers up there talking. Then you really get an understanding of what's available, how people are using it, and what the actual value is.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's what I like to hear. I don't want to hear like a sales pitch necessarily. I want to hear from someone who uses the product and can tell me like, oh, this is their limitations, or these are struggles we've had, and this is what's great about it. And, again, get some true insight versus like, oh, well, here's what we are going to do in the future, which again, it's nice to know those things, but especially at a site where you don't necessarily have time to wait or hope for what may come down the road.
You're not looking for the sales pitch.
Yeah. I feel like we really need to push technology companies to do that more. Just overall, like that should be the expectation, is that, we should be giving you our customers as references. We should be having our customers speak about their experience. And like you guys are saying, like, you don't really have time to figure out, well, what's actually real from the sales pitch you just gave me. That's something that I hope that we're going to see more of in the future from technology companies. And I think it's going to take things like this to really put that kind of accountability in place.
Yeah, I've always disliked that about our industry, I think. I mean, you can go on an app store and any tiny developer has got reviews and ratings from people, but like it's hard to get more objective reviews from people who are not, again, the person trying to get you to buy their product. It's just not enough info out there.
Well, I like what I'm hearing about Veeva Summit, I have to say. I speak to individuals in the industry, site owners, on a very regular basis, many times a week. I'm often asked, hey, what conferences do you recommend? And I usually say SOS, and that's it. I'm not a big fan of the big conferences. I'm just not. So I think I'll add Veeva to that list. So it'll be 2 now. So thank you. At least you give me a little bit more ammunition.
Is that September?
Yes, it's in September in Boston.
In Boston, right? Okay.
Yep, early September. So, and there will be different days depending on, options of what people want to get access to, but we'll keep that up on our website, sites.veeva.com, for people to see. Sign up and get registered, and we'll start sharing information with you. But thanks, Chris. That means a lot. I mean, I think you can relate to this of like, we're not exactly lacking for conference opportunities.
No, right? There's plenty of conferences out there. Just, right. Are they beneficial
exactly
to the attendees?
Yeah. So I know you had, very specific reasons for, starting SOS. And we really had to ask ourselves, like, if we're going to open this up to sites, is there really going to be value? And what can we do that no one else is doing? So the sponsor connection, and then the connection to all of the products and the demos, and really giving feedback to the people making the products. That's going to be the differentiator for Summit, for Veeva.
Yeah, and the fact that you're providing an opportunity to sites to speak directly with sponsors, so they can pitch their sites a little bit, learn about the Veeva products, and I assume many other things while they're there.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So, go ahead, Brett.
I would say we're here in the last few minutes. You're going to be in Oklahoma City next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And I assume, potentially some other, what do you guys call yourselves?
We call ourselves Veevans.
Veevans. Okay. So some Veevans. What do you, I guess, what do you want attendees or people to know, or what are you hoping to sort of take away from coming out to SOS?
I mean, honestly, we're going to listen. Like, we're going to keep our ear to the ground to really understand perspectives from I know attendees that may not go to a lot of other conferences where we are there. And something that's unique about what we're trying to do is, generally technology providers for sites, like they focus on smaller sites or site networks or academic medical centers. We're really here to serve everybody with our products, which again is unique. And so we want to make sure that we're hearing from every single segment of site. So the first thing is to listen. And then I would say the second thing that we're hoping to do is really just to build trust and celebrate sites. That's something that's really important for us right now, is making sure that, we're connected enough to share your stories, your needs, and all of the incredible work that you're doing with our other customer base, on the other side. With our sponsors and with our CROs, I spend quite a bit of my time talking to them as well, and kind of being this bridge between. So they always do really well with real stories and really kind of putting them directly in touch with the incredible work that's going on. So I'm going to help celebrate that and pick those stories up so that I can share them back with the rest of the industry at every opportunity that I can get.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's underrated. I think, I don't know, I pick up on that, like if I'm at conferences, not just people who are, necessarily working in booth, but who are talking and having engaging conversations at conferences with people at sites. I think, again, that's a great way to get sites on your side, just show that you're listening and, sharing their stories and helping make things as good as you can for them. So, nope, I like it.
All right, so we're kind of winding down here, and I'll give you a moment for some final thoughts, Bree. But first, since Dan's not here, we gotta have an ad run, and that's if you're coming to the conference, you haven't purchased your tickets yet. Do keep in mind the conference is at the Omni Hotel. You must stay at the Omni Hotel. I'm just kidding. It's not a must, but we would appreciate it if you did. The conference is Friday and Saturday, and that's the 14th and 15th. Do arrive on Thursday, as there will be a pre-party. Right, Brad? Pre-party on Thursday.
I mean, there's no matter what day it is, there's going to be a party. So,
Oh, there you go. From the man himself. So do keep that in mind. Again, the Omni Hotel, very nice hotel. Brad picked it out.
Unless you don't like it. And then in that case, I didn't pick it out.
Oh, go stay at the Motel 6. All right. So, Bree, do you have any closing thoughts?
I mean, no, I think as we're wrapping, I'm just really excited for 2025 for sites. I know there's been, especially for academic medical centers, I don't know how many academic medical centers you guys have listening. There's some, crazy stuff going on with some of their funding right now. And truly the work that we're doing is hard. The work that sites are doing is not getting any easier yet. But my closing thoughts are, I really do feel that momentum is changing. Just the fact that you guys have so many listeners, I would be interested to know how much of your audience is sponsor CRO related. I think we're getting to this transition of just listening and understanding that there's a problem and realizing that there is true value, business value, financial value in helping sites be more efficient for sponsors and CROs. And we have to figure that out, or they are going to start having their own development pipeline crisis. Like, in my opinion, like the supply and demand issue is getting really real. So although we've got some challenging things, that are already starting this year, I'm a big believer that you guys are helping getting the attention of the right people at sponsors and CROs. And we are going to see a shift in the complexity of the way that you're working today.
And to your earlier point, you're seeing more, not less studies for sites, right? So this is
more.
So this is only going to complicate.
Yeah. It's like, how do you then take on more studies and not have to necessarily take on all this financial burden of the risk of, well, now I have to hire more people and now I can't keep my people. And like, we have to start making the work more seamless and more consistent that you're doing at sites so that you can scale and you can take on more of those studies and you can feel, like you're really optimizing your business. And I think that's going to happen. And I think sponsors and CROs really get that they need to do that for their own benefit now. It's not just a nice to have, like, hey, we care about the site experience. It's important. We want sites to like our technology. It's like, no, the site experience is now critical for our pipelines to be stable.
Well, that's a great closing thought, as it meets one of the purposes of the Save Our Sites conference, and everybody needs more business. So
that's right.
I like that thought, that things are increasing for sites, not decreasing in terms of business. Do you have any closing thoughts, Brad?
No, Bree nailed it. Thanks, Bree.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bree. It was a pleasure. Everybody, come and see Bree at the conference. They have a booth. Bree will be there. You can come and talk to her, speak to her directly. So until then, we hope to see you at the conference. Not Bree, everyone else that's watching. We hope to see you at the conference. We will see Bree.
That's right.
All right. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Thanks, guys.